Under the white glare of the midday sun streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Forrester Creations' top-floor conference room, Steffi Logan, Forrester sat at the head of the table, her posture taut with resolve. Around her, the assembled design team and executive board exchanged tense glances, their designer denim shirts and bespoke suits suddenly feeling like uniforms in a battlefield of wills. Months earlier, Sheila Carter, once the most feared and reviled presence in the Forrester orbit, had been banished from the company, her schemes and heartache leaving scars deeper than any seam in their finest silks. Yet today, Steffi was about to shatter expectations. She would propose that Sheila be invited back, given a chance to prove herself worthy of the Forrester name, and even offered a junior design role. A probationary seat at the table of the very empire she once sought to topple. A collective gasp had rippled through the room when Steffi stood and announced her decision, her gaze unwavering. The board members murmured in shock, some clutching their tablets as though to hail security, others whispered that Steffi was reckless, that no risk was worth the damage to Forrester's brand and prestige. Yet Steffi herself believed that redemption, once genuine, could yield innovations no loyalist could conceive. She began with vision. Ladies and gentlemen, we've built an empire on transformation, on turning raw ideas into couture that speaks to the world. We've thrived because we dared to embrace the new, even when it frightened us. Today, I'm asking you to embrace a new kind of innovation, transformation of spirit. Sheila Carter has asked for an opportunity to show she can create, not destroy. I believe in second chances, in growth born from adversity. I believe she can help us tap into an audience craving authenticity, edge, and fearless creativity. As she spoke, hands pressed against the sleek mahogany table, she fought off the memory of the night when Sheila had stood outside her home, wild-eyed and vengeful, a threat to her daughter Kelly's safety and the Forrester patriarch's legacy. She recalled how, after Shirley's schemes had fractured families, the walls of this very boardroom had echoed with condemnation. And yet, she also remembered the tears in Sheila's eyes when Brooke had extended mercy, the genuine remorse she'd heard in Sheila's confession behind bars. That memory, so raw, so unexpected, had planted a seed of possibility in Steffi's heart, one she now nurtured with unwavering conviction. Across the table, Ridge Forrester's jaw clenched. He remembered every betrayal, every instance when Sheila's hunger for control had nearly eclipsed his life's work. He feared that Steffi's bold move could unleash chaos, tarnish the Forrester name, damage stock prices, and undermine the family's decades-long reputation for exquisite taste and unwavering integrity. Thomas, seated beside him, cleared his throat and asked in measured tones, "Steffi, are we prepared for the fallout? If Sheila re-enters our midst, any unstable moment could be amplified by gossip, scandal," and Steffi met his gaze, firm and unwavering. "Thomas, risk has always been our currency. We survived Storm Logan's takeover, survived our father's exit and return, survived rivals who outbid and outmaneuvered us. We survived because we adapt. Sheila's hurts run deep, but so does her talent. Let me lead her reintegration. Let me mentor her. If at any point she fails to meet our standards, her probation ends and she goes. But if she succeeds, we'll have gained not only a designer, but proof that Forrester Creations stands for forgiveness as well as fashion." A hush fell, interrupted only by the distant hum of traffic on Los Angeles streets far below. In the days that followed, Steffi orchestrated Sheila's return with meticulous care. She arranged for Sheila to enter through a discreet back door, escorted past the bright atrium and sequestered in a private workroom where sketches lay waiting. Sheila's entrance startled every cleaning crew member and junior intern who caught a glimpse of her. Some recoiled, some stared, some nodded with hesitant sympathy. Steffi waited in the room's corner, watching as Sheila's eyes, lined with fatigue and regret, skimmed over the mood boards for the upcoming runway. When Sheila finally looked up, Steffi offered coffee and a tentative smile. "Welcome back," she said softly. Sheila's breath caught. She nodded, voice barely a whisper. "Thank you for this chance. I won't squander it." Over the next weeks, they met daily. Steffi reviewing Sheila's rough drafts, challenging her color palettes, pushing her to blend her trademark edge with Forrester's classic elegance. Sheila responded with fervor, infusing each design with narratives of redemption and a bold new aesthetic that spoke to survivors and risk-takers alike. Word of Sheila's revival spread through industry circles like wildfire. Gossip columnists speculated that Forrester was courting controversy. Fashion critics declared it a daring gamble. Internally, board members found themselves torn. Caroline hung a Sheila-designed sketch in her office, quietly impressed. Eric, from his plush leather chair, scrawled notes by hand and peered at the prototype blazer Sheila fashioned from recycled silk. They'd never seen him so engaged. Only Ridge remained cold, raising concerns at every checkpoint: quality control, public relations, influencer outreach. Yet with each critique, Steffi provided data. Focus group results showing millennial interest, sales projections buoyed by Sheila's designs, buzz metrics trending upwards. The tension between father and daughter crackled, but Steffi refused to yield. She saw more than numbers. She saw the fragile human being behind a lifetime of mistakes, and she saw the potential for a narrative of rebirth that could enrich the Forrester brand. The climax approached when Sheila's first official collection under Steffi's mentorship debuted at Sunset Boulevard's new eco-fashion pavilion. The runway, a glass-floored stage over lush palms, was packed with buyers and press. Just before showtime, backstage buzzed with excitement and nerves. Models adjusted garments that shimmered with metallic threads woven into upcycled fabrics, each piece a declaration of resilience. Sheila stood off to the side, trembling as the house lights dimmed. Steffi slipped beside her, laying a hand on her shoulder. "You've earned this," she whispered. Sheila swallowed and nodded. The lights rose. A pulsating beat filled the air. One by one, the models emerged, draped in fabrics that told stories of scars and victories, of past wounds transformed into art. The audience erupted in applause at the finale, a gown stitched from patchwork leather panels, each piece inscribed with a word: repent, grow, forgive. Thunderous ovations followed. Critics later hailed it as a masterpiece of storytelling through fashion. Backstage, cameras captured Ridge's astonished face as he watched footage on his phone. He joined Steffi and Sheila in the green room, where congratulations and relief mingled in uneven breaths. Ridge approached, uncertainty in his eyes. "You did it," he said, voice thick with emotion. Sheila bowed her head in gratitude. Steffi beamed. "You took a risk," Ridge continued, glancing between mother and daughter, mentor and protege. "And you were right." He extended his hand to Sheila, who clasped it, her expression awash in tears. In that moment, the Forrester dynasty's foundation, once cracked by secrets and vengeance, seemed to heal. Critics praised the collection for marrying classic Forrester sophistication with the raw authenticity of Sheila's journey, and sales inquiries flooded in from around the globe. Yet far from quiet triumph, the aftermath brimmed with new challenges. Tabloids dug into Sheila's past affiliations, fellow designers questioned Forrester's integrity, and insiders wondered if Steffi's bold move had shifted power in the family, positioning her as heir apparent. Will Sheila's redemption endure scrutiny, or will whispers of her former schemes resurface to fracture the fragile peace? Can Steffi maintain her role as both designer and peacemaker without sacrificing her own ambitions? As Forrester Creations marches forward under a banner of forgiveness and innovation, only time will reveal whether this daring gamble cements a new era of unity or plants the seeds of a future reckoning. But for now, beneath the laurel banners celebrating the autumn collection's success, the Forrester name stands. renewed, defiant, and forever changed by Steffi's unwavering faith in second chances. Under the pall of dim fluorescent lights in his sprawling waterfront penthouse office, Bill Spencer paced the length of his mahogany desk, the weight of betrayal pressing upon him like an iron yoke. He had always prided himself on seeing through deception, on cutting to the core of inconvenient truths, but nothing had prepared him for the revelation that Grace Buckingham, the woman he had welcomed into his life with the promise of trust and partnership, had quietly redirected $1 million of his capital into a covert medical gambit designed to test his loyalty rather than to cure his son. Bill's fury was volcanic, smoldering beneath every controlled breath as he replayed Grace's sweet assurances echoing in his mind. Assurances that Liam's inoperable brain tumor had responded to an experimental treatment she championed, that Liam's miraculous recovery was a testament to her brilliance and to the trust he had placed in her. The bitter reality now seared through him. Grace had weaponized Liam's pain, had manipulated his son's health to ensnare Bill's emotions and his finances. The magnitude of her duplicity left Bill reeling. How many boardroom decisions had been swayed by the illusion of her concern? How many nights had he lain awake, heart swollen with gratitude for Grace's supposed triumph, while she wove a tapestry of lies around the Spencer name? The thought that all of this might have been an elaborate con, that Liam might never have harbored a malignant lesion to begin with, or might still suffer one hidden behind the curtain of a false remission, drove Bill Spencer to the brink of obsession. He resolved, in that moment, to unearth every document, every bank transfer, every whispered admission she had ever made behind closed doors. He would not rest until Grace paid for her betrayals in full measure. News of Liam Spencer's so-called miraculous cure had spread like wildfire through Los Angeles' elite circles. Bill, initially buoyed by relief when doctors proclaimed Liam tumor-free, had accepted the prognosis with uncharacteristic openness, chastising himself for the hardness he displayed toward family matters, but allowing a rare moment of vulnerability to shine through. Yet those fleeting feelings of gratitude were swept aside when John Finnegan, Liam's fiercely protective physician and friend, confided in Bill his deepest suspicions: no tumor of that magnitude, aggressive, inoperable, life-threatening, ever regressed so swiftly or cleanly. Finn's medical training told him that such reversals bordered on the miraculous and miracles. He reminded Bill in hushed tones in Finn's cluttered medical office, often masked sinister underpinnings. Bill had bristled at first, anger mingling with denial. The last thing he wanted was to believe his son had been subjected to further suffering. Not only the physical torment of needles and medications that might have been unnecessary, but the psychological toll of relying on Grace's assurances. Yet Finn's unease proved infectious, Cohen Spencer's resolve firming as every detail fell into place: the secrecy surrounding Grace's treatment protocols, the unorthodox billing routes she employed to draw down the $1 million loan he had extended to her charity, the absence of any independent third-party corroboration of Liam's remission. Bill confronted Grace privately in the marble-floored hallway outside the emergency room at Los Angeles General, voice low but quivering with righteous indignation as he accused her of using his son's life as collateral in a twisted game. Grace, her composure unraveling, insisted she had acted in Liam's best interest, that every decision, every costly procedure, every experimental infusion had been geared to destroy the tumor, to secure Liam's future. "You don't understand," she pleaded, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I did it for you, for Liam. I had to prove I was worth the trust you placed in me." But Bill, eyes cold with betrayal, saw only a woman who had gambled on his love and weaponized his worst fears. Meanwhile, the question haunting Finn lay heavy in every surgical, mask-fogged reflection, in every whispered conversation behind closed ICU doors. He had watched Liam's recovery with increasing alarm. How the young Spencer heir had stumbled down the hospital corridor one morning only to dance in the courtyard with reckless abandon the next, as if the tumor and its treatments had been figments of collective paranoia. Finn feared that Grace, motivated by ambition and desire for Bill's approval, had orchestrated a series of placebo treatments and supportive therapies to create the illusion of improvement, while masking the tumor's continued existence. He recognized the same pattern from obscure journal articles, cases in which physicians, under the sway of charismatic financiers or corporate backers, had allowed pseudoscientific protocols to supplant standard care. Now, Finn devoted every spare moment to combing through Liam's medical charts, retrieving pathology reports, cross-referencing lab results with radiology scans. The gulf between what the charts purported and what his clinical instincts told him grew wider by the hour. Each anomaly, an unexplained jump in white blood cell counts, an imaging study with missing slices, was another brick in a wall of deception. Finn felt a kinship with Bill's righteous anger, and despite his complicated history with Bill, he knew the man deserved to know every sordid detail. After all, Finn had pledged his life to saving Liam's. He could not stand by while Grace's lies threatened to steal that life away once more. As Grace Buckingham navigated the gilded halls of Spencer Publications headquarters, her confidence beginning to show cracks, she encountered whispers at every turn. Employees who had once praised her philanthropic vision now lurked behind water-cooler glass, casting nervous glances and trading furtive theories about her motivations. Photographers stationed outside her charity's gala tuned their lenses to capture her first missteps. Every pound of makeup, every nervous flutter of the eyelids, each forced laugh under the chandelier's glare. Tabloids splashed her image across front pages under headlines like Grace's Grift and Is Spencer Charity a Front? Even Bill's allies, trusted executives and longtime confidants, began to question their loyalty to a cause that had become tainted by scandal. Bill, sensing the tightening noose, summoned Grace to his private study at the mansion, the walls lined with family portraits that seemed to watch her Judgment Day-like approach. He informed her, in measured tones that belied his simmering wrath, that he would launch an immediate audit of every financial transaction linked to the Charity of Hope, that he would subpoena medical records, that he had already instructed his attorneys to draw up enforceable restitution agreements. "You gambled with my son's life," he snapped, "and now you'll pay the price." Grace, panic dawning, offered token resistance, pleading loyalty, conjuring memories of crises she had averted, of lives she claimed to have saved. But Bill's heart had hardened. This was no longer about sentiment. He would pursue the truth to its darkest corners, and Grace would answer for each injured promise, each unnecessary injection. Every night he had lain awake wondering whether his son's tumor had ever truly gone away. In the midst of this maelstrom, Liam Spencer stood at a crossroads of hope and horror. Having rallied to beam with his two young daughters Lily and Kelly, promising them, "I'm not going anywhere," he felt a fierce need to protect them from the shadow of whatever malignancy had once threatened his mind, from the specter of treatment side effects that might yet emerge. Yet he, too, sensed that something wasn't right. Gaps in his memory of hospital procedures, unanswered questions about discharge paperwork signed by Grace alone, follow-up appointments canceled without explanation. With Finnegan's subtle prodding and Bill's resolute backing, Liam reluctantly agreed to undergo a fresh battery of tests at an independent neurology center, one free from Grace's influence. The prospect of fresh scans terrified him. What if the tumor had never budged? What if Grace's cure had been a con, a smokescreen to hide the real disease? He pictured himself losing consciousness on an operating table, his daughters' faces blurring into the drab green of surgical drapes. And yet, he steeled himself against fear, driven by a deeper need for truth, for closure, whether that meant reclaiming health or confronting ruin. Bill Spencer, Sensing the final act of this drama drawing near, marshaled every resource at his command. Private investigators to trace the million-dollar transfer, forensic accountants to unravel Grace's charity's tangled accounts, and a legal team poised to issue subpoenas and depositions. He prepared to call a board meeting at Spencer Publications, where he would publicly expose Grace's duplicity, demand her immediate resignation from the Charity of Hope's board, and, if necessary, pursue criminal charges for fraud and endangerment. The thought of his daughters catching wind of the spectacle of their mother's reputation shredded stung him to the core, yet he knew that protecting them demanded no less than his full pursuit of justice. Behind every calculated move lay a father's raw pain, grief for his son's suffering, outrage at the betrayal of a woman he had once tried to champion, and a battered but unbroken resolve to make Grace Buckingham answer for the turmoil she had wrought. As the final scans were scheduled and the audit drew nearer, the question that hung over every conversation, every knock on Bill's door, every whispered phone call was the same. Will Grace's web of lies finally unravel, revealing the truth that could shatter lives, or will she manage one last gambit to evade accountability, leaving Bill and Liam trapped in her mirage of mercy? In the end, Bill Spencer vowed, no stone would be left unturned, no ledger left unbalanced, and no lie left unchallenged. For in the fierce crucible of family, money, and loyalty, only one certainty remained. When the truth is at stake, Bill Spencer never backs down.